same issue is being fought today and has been fought since 1948. And historians were carried back to the 19th century. Biblical historians were carried back to the book of Judges, where the original people, the Palestinians, and please remember, Jesus was a Palestinian.
All right, there he is, a little more subdued than he was when he made his post 9/11 sermon, the church that Barack Obama used to attend when he said America's chickens have come home to roost. That's the Reverend Jeremiah Wright at the celebration, whatever they called it, the anniversary, 20th anniversary of the so-called Million Man March, which of course there never was a Million Man March. Joining us on the Malzberg panel, Larry Elder, radio host of the Larry Elder Show and author of Dear Father, Dear Son, 2 Lives, 8 Hours, and David Swerdlick, assistant editor of PostEverything at the Washington Post. Gentlemen, welcome. So David, I mean, if this is any indication of what went on Saturday, an event sponsored by a man who has called for 1,000 or 10,000 volunteers to basically hunt down and kill white people. What a joke.
Yeah, so I was not at the march. I was actually not able to get a press credential of all things.
Why not? Why not? Wait, why not?
I asked for one, and they told me it was too late.
Who told you it was too late? The Nation of Islam?
Yeah, the event organizers, right? And that's okay. Look, so these things happen. But the point is, so I was not there, but I have read the accounts. I've heard some of the speeches, like the one you provided. And look, in my view, I think that there was a particular time and a particular moment 20 years ago for that march, whether people agree with the aims or not. It sort of met the moment. Now, I think there's nothing wrong, of course, with commemorating a major event 20 years later, although I do think that the time for the particular message of Minister Farrakhan and people like Minister or Reverend Jeremiah Wright has sort of passed. I think in terms of their mainstream appeal of what they're preaching, we're not in that moment
David,
anymore.
one more quick question.
Yeah.
How long before the event did you apply for the credential?
Oh, several days, but I mean, look. Let me move on from that. Steve. I just wanted to explain why, even though I'm based in DC,
I understand. But were you surprised
Yeah.
that the Nation of Islam turned down the Washington Post and David Swerdlick for a press credential?
Other people from the Washington Post were covering the event. So
okay. All right.
I personally asked for a credential. I was not granted one. That's okay.
Larry, I know you and I did not ask for credentials, but but there was never a Million Man March. That was a sham. They never had a million people.
No, there never were, but no, you're right. I didn't apply for a press credential, so I'm not offended that I didn't get one. As I recall, 20 years ago, this march was all about men standing up and adhering to their responsibilities to their women, and to their girlfriend, to their children. And to that extent, I thought it was a perfectly legitimate thing to have done. But as I see it now, it's degenerated into Whitey has done me wrong, Whitey has done me wrong, and by the way, Whitey has done me wrong. Never mind the election and re-election of a black president. I would have thought that perhaps racism remains a major problem in America, might have been diminished as a factor, but it isn't. All they do is sit there and bitch, moan, and whine about what Whitey has done to me.
Yeah. So, Steve, can I just jump back in and just say, on this particular issue, although Larry and I are speaking about it in definitely different terms, and I don't think there's a complete overlap, we are kind of saying something similar here, right? In terms of, like, there was a moment 20 years ago, that moment is gone. It's less clear what the point of this march is today.
All right, let's move on. 2 reports. Tamir Rice, the young black, I guess, child. I don't know if he was a teenager or not. I think he was just barely a teenager.
12 years old.
12 years old. In Cleveland, 2 cops pulled up on him. He had a toy gun pulled. They shot him because they had gotten reports earlier that there was a teenager with a gun pacing up and down, shooting, but whatever. So bottom line is there's been 2 independent reports. And both of these independent reports, David, have vindicated the police officers. Now, that these were done at the request of the prosecutor, who will present these reports along with other evidence to the grand jury. How do you think this will influence the whole case?
So I would not use the word vindicated. Look, I've seen the reports of these independent investigators. Look, clearly, I think if you're inclined, you or anyone else is inclined to say that, look, there's evidence suggesting that these officers, it was a legal shooting, then that will play out in court. And I think these reports lend to that point of view. On the other hand, we know that the 911 dispatcher did not provide all the information to the officers. We also know that the officer who shot and killed Tamir Rice had been denied employment by several of the law enforcement agencies and had resigned after bad reviews at another law enforcement agency. So I think it is fair to say, was this a murder or manslaughter? That is for a court to decide. But I think it's fair to say, based on what we know, what's been reported, that the system failed Tamir Rice in this case.
Well, I believe Tamir Rice failed. You know, I mean,
he's 12 years old.
Cops don't know that when they're pulling up, Larry. They see a guy with a gun. They've gotten reports that this guy was walking around waving a gun. He has the gun out. What are they supposed to do?
I agree with David,
Larry,
that these reports don't. I agree with David. These reports don't vindicate the officer. What they do is they say that the officer's shooting was justified. And so in the unlikely event that they charge the officer with murder or manslaughter, the jury will find the officer not guilty, as they should, based upon what I've seen so far.
I didn't mean legally vindicate. I meant, as you alluded to, you used a more proper word. I want to run this very quickly. Barack Obama, you'll each have 10 seconds afterward. Go.
He's challenging your leadership, Mr. President. He's challenging your leadership.
Steve, I got to tell you, if you think that running your economy into the ground and having to send troops in order to prop up your only ally is leadership, then we've got a different definition of leadership. My definition of leadership would be leading on climate change and international accord that potentially will get.
All right, Larry, you first.
Well, Obama thought it was going to be another suck-up Steve Croft interview. Surprise, surprise. Croft actually asked him some tough questions, and Obama didn't like it.
David, climate change? Go ahead.
I think it's fine that Croft asked tough questions. I don't think Obama's response was as prickly as some folks are trying to make it out to be.
All right, got to go. Tom DeLay's next. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.